I want to talk about something that I've talked to a lot of students about when they've been either in my programs or even for people that's like on like TikTok, YouTube, whatever. And mostly TikTok. Someone asked me, somebody commented and was like, how long after reading your book will I know how to trade? It doesn't work like that. Not with my book, not with any book. I've been learning about the stock market since 10th grade. And I started investing after I graduated. I bought my very first stock in McDonald's when I graduated high school back in 2012. And so I'm gonna just put it like this. I understood the stock market, I understood the entire concept. And then I got to learning about option trading, like almost towards the end of my 11th grade year, going into the 12th grade year. And I could literally sit in a room with people who probably have been doing this for years and have a full conversation with them about this. And they would probably think I had been investing for years myself. The whole time I'm just a 17-year-old kid, right? That's how much I understood it. Okay, I retain information. Well, I love numbers too. So it was a no-brainer. It was easy thing for me to understand. Let me say that. And so without practicing option trading, without practicing proper investment, without practicing the emotions of the market psychology, my own psychology, everything is completely different when you're actually putting what you're learning to work. You can think that you know everything there is to know about the market. And you might do. I did. I knew everything. But when it came to putting it to work, I was clueless. Because even when I say I understood, okay, I'm supposed to buy a stock when it's low, right? But you sell it when it's high, or you just let it do its thing and increase. I didn't go in it like that. And this was around the time too where partial shares were buying fractional shares was actually becoming a thing. So by the time I graduated, I was putting like $20 in McDonald's, $20 in Netflix, or $20 in little stocks here and there. And I saw this thing coming down. My $20 was turning 17. I get scared and I sell off my shares. Or rather, I sell off my partial shares. Then I see it go right back up. And I'm like, okay, let me go back and buy it because now it's going back up. And it happens again. It goes back down. And so I understood what I was supposed to be doing, but the execution was horrible. And this is what it's like for a lot of people. A lot of people don't, I guess they might understand what they're supposed to be doing, but they don't understand how to follow through with it. And so it's like you may think you have retained a strategy or a concept from YouTube or from a book or from someone who taught you, but just because you have the information, just because you've been taught something, if you have not taken the time to execute on what you have learned, to implement these strategies and figure out how to piece all of this stuff together, it's not going to matter. I tell you about every indicator. I could tell you about the candlesticks. I literally understood candlestick patterns and formation long before I started actually investing on the stock market. And you see a double top. Okay, you can identify a double top, which is the letter M, right? You can see that, but do you know where to enter? Do you know where to exit? Do you understand how to use this concept to make a day trade, to swing trade it? However you decide you want to trade, do you understand how to use this concept? Do you know how to pair these things with indicators? Do you know how to get confirmation? It's like I understood these patterns, but I did not understand everything else. I could tell you what indicators mean. I could tell you what the RSI mean. I could tell you how to use it, what the VWAP, the EMAs, and every other indicator that there was. I could probably tell you about it and what it meant or what it told me about that stock or that price action, but I didn't know how to put it to work myself on the market because I never got that practicing. When I started trading 8 years ago, like actually trading 8 years ago, I very quickly found out how much I really did not know. And even though I could understand something by the textbook, did I understand how to put it to work when actually trading? And so my thing is this, even if you are learning on YouTube, you're reading books, you're learning from me, you're learning from anybody, okay? if you're new to it and you just like, oh, well, right now I'm just learning, you won't know if what you're learning is going to work for you unless you put it into action, unless you're implemented somewhere. And you can start this with paper trade, where you can back test things that you learn, back test strategy, back test using indicators and pairing stuff together. Looking into pattern formation, okay? Identifying patterns on the chart, making a move on it, coming out of that trade. You will not know until you put it to work. So don't just think that, okay, I'm going to go to YouTube, I'm going to learn, and I'm just going to be a master trader. It don't work that way. Not with one YouTube video that you watch, not with one book that you read, not even with my books. My books teach you to understand concepts, strategies, patterns, understanding the stock market. I go way back to the beginning in my book about how the stock market came about. That's just like giving you everything that I learned, okay? And taking things from some of my notes. But that's not going to be enough to make you a great trader. That's not going to be enough to make you a great investor. That comes with your own patience, your own execution. That comes with how you move as a trader and as an investor. And that comes with you. That comes from your own experience, okay? So stop just retaining information and not actually putting it to work, because it's not going to matter until you implement everything that you've learned from anybody that you've learned, and you think just sucking up this information is going to be enough, but it's not. Because listen, you have to see what works for you. Nobody can tell you what works for you, and what works for another trader may not work for you. What works for me may not work for you, and what works for someone else might not work for me. And there's a lot of things that I've tried that doesn't work for me, and you have to be okay with that. But you have to find what does, and the only way you can is by implementing the things that you are learning from wherever that you're learning it from. Yeah, that was that. I just wanted to talk about that because I've been having to say this a lot to either students or to people who are coming on something about one of my books, okay? My book and nobody else's book is it will help you. It will give you ideas. It will give you things to try. It will give you things to back test. And it will kind of help you with things like your psychology, but you won't know if it's actually working until you actually put it to the test. Okay, so keep that in mind when you are getting into the stock market.